night to see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly!
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant.
Judgment, Alston.
Chloe, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinin.
You mean shining?
Shh! You wanna get sued?
Judgment, Alston.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a running. But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Hey, yo, boss. I love it when he does that.
Let's watch.
Oh no, guys, I was muted the whole time. My bad. I guess I didn't take it off of mute. It's so nice to see all of you tonight. Welcome in. I'm Lady Freedom here, coming at you with another raw narrative. And tonight I wanted to say hi to everyone that was in the chat. So I have Town Chat Cafe, Adam Forever 21. I have Mima for the Missing. Good to see you. I also have Ann Reynolds, Prayer Warrior, SI Officer, Peggy, Megan Els. Good to see you guys. I also saw Cinderella, Kiki, and Holly S. It's so nice to have all of you guys. Hey, show poodles. Nice to have you. Thank you all so much for being here. And so tonight I was showing you guys my shirt, but you guys couldn't hear me. And so I just got your message. This is muted. Thank you. But yeah, so this is Team Aaliyah. This is for our little baby girl. She is 2 years old. And she is battling leukemia right now as we speak. She is such a strong, happy little girl. I just, if I talk too much about it, I will bawl my eyes out right in front of you guys. But this is this is our little Aaliyah. She's so cute, and she is just so strong. So I posted this prayer. It's a really sweet prayer, but just pray whatever prayer that you like to pray, and with all healing intentions and all the good things, and the Lord has her in His hands right now, is what we've been saying, and I truly believe that to be true. So, but I got my shirt. What was it? Yesterday, I believe it was, and so we're Team Aaliyah. So, and we're Aaliyah Strong. And then orange, I found out, is the color for leukemia. So we're orange tonight. I'll put up my banner too. It should be orange. Oh, we're orange tonight. Hey, Retha Bell, good to see you. So I got Mel Gibson with us as well tonight. He's in the corner over here. So there was a Ransom. So I got off my live last night and I saw that Mr. and Mrs. E were on earlier in the evening, and nice to see you, Retha Bell. And I was, like, wow, something big must have happened in the statement. And we didn't go over that last night. So I thought, I'm going to go over and check out Mr. and Mrs. E's Crimecast and see what they said. And basically, I have the statement. We're going to go over it. But basically, it was a lot to do with, thanks, SI Officer. Whoopsie daisy. There we have it. But yeah, it's a lot of information. It's good information. It's more than we've gotten from law enforcement. So, hey, let's go over it. I did see something, and maybe you guys can help me out with it. I didn't get a chance to watch any of it, but Crime Time Buzz talked about this last night as well at length. And then also, again, there was a live that I saw that she had put out, but I didn't actually watch the live, right? So, because I was working on other things for tonight for us, in terms of painting the picture of, and how I'm presenting some of this information that's going to be coming out within the next few days. Of course, we are approaching 4th of July weekend. And so, I'm not going to be on 4th of July night. I will take that night off, but I'll be back on the 5th and so on. I'm going to try to get to the beach. I think, it's rained all the time now. I'm going to sound such a brat because I got so used to like the sun all the time. And now I'm like, oh, it's raining all the time. So it'll be back to sunny, I guess. But I just wasn't expecting a lot of rain this summer, and that's what we've got. So, because I like to go outside, and I love being outside. And when I can't go out there and it's rainy, I'm like grumpy. But, either way, we're going to do that. We'll skip over Friday, I believe is the 4th, and then we'll just continue on. But I wanted to paint this picture for you guys about what we've seen in the case so far, and I kind of want to keep on track with it. So I thought about making some videos and putting them out, and then maybe like a refresher video as we go. Because what my theory is kind of evolving into, I want to share it with you, but I don't want to. I mean, it's just going to be really difficult to share it because there's so much information. And we're going to get into that tonight too, because that's something that was a part of the statement that At Night put out. So we're going to go over that. What else did I have for us? I know there was something else. Oh, okay. The roles, right? So, oh, okay, good. I didn't click that on. Texas Roadhouse, for those of you who don't know, they have the like little rolls, right? And they're like kind of like yeasty rolls that you would probably have at like Thanksgiving, right? They're like the little white bread rolls. And you let them rise up and stuff, you know, there's yeast in them, whatever. So they're really good. They put like some sort of like a honey cinnamon butter stuff on there already, like they kind of like come to the table that way. And then there's also some butter that they give you that has like, it's seasoned butter, like with sweets, right? I don't know what to call it, but it's really good, right? And we all like, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if there's like that kind of like biscuit thing or bread at the beginning, I have to be careful because like I will spoil my appetite. So I just want to put a disclaimer in there right away, right off the bat. So just don't come for me and be like, well, maybe he didn't want, you know, she didn't want him to spoil his dinner. Maybe he had a roll already or whatever. Because I don't think that's the point. The point that I'm trying to make is that I've felt a very odd connection between food and Sebastian in terms of it being something that is not given freely, right? So like, I don't know how it works in everybody's households. I'm not here to tell you all how to live or, you know, how to run your household. You pay your own bills, you do your thing, right? But, and I definitely don't want to tell anybody how to raise their kids. So just putting that out there as well. But like, I don't know. We always had like free reign of things in the house. Like it wasn't ever like, I mean, I will say that we had like pop only on the weekends, like certain things like that was kind of like a treat, right? But that was just more to stay healthy. And then also, you know, healthy options. You would have like a fig Newton or something. I don't know, guys. I'm just saying, I know fig bars probably aren't the best either, but I mean, it's like healthier than like a whole ass cookie. But so, you know, you try to like do that for the kids, right? You don't want them always eating junk. And I get that. And if they eat too much bread, they might not eat their meal. I get that. You know, I'd probably have to be stopped too. Like I have to stop myself, you know, I get it. CSI officer says, I did think that too, but was still upset as her demeanor toward him was controlling. Yeah, and he just really wanted that. I just feel so bad for him. Like, I don't know, like, I could have cried, and I was so angry. I was like, I just want to either cuss or cry. And, because I just feel like you give him a complex when you don't let him eat, and poor guy, and he's hungry, and he's a growing boy. He's not like, I mean, I'm not even going to say he's of average weight. He's a little bit underweight. It seems like he was thin, whatever. Some people have a higher metabolism too. You always have to consider that. And I do. But I was like, man, he's just trying to eat, and just let him have a fucking roll. And so, I'm kind of enraged. You guys might hear me fat shaming Katie tonight, calling her a fat ass with the butter or something. Cause I mean, it makes me really mad. And then it also makes me mad, as well. Justin brings up a lot of great points. I mean, he really does. But then also, if we have a ransom, right? And I'm only bringing up Mel Gibson, like that's a joke, just so you guys know. It's to make you guys laugh. Hey, Astrology from Mystics with Jen. Good to see you. It's kind of a funny thing, right? This is my frame of reference, and this is a frame of reference that I think a lot of you may have seen the movie, right? But in this movie, right, this dad, well, I mean, he's rich for one. It's a different scenario altogether. This dad is rich, and he has paid a ransom or some sort of payoff before in the past. And so there's a group of criminals that decide, hey, if we take his kid, he'll definitely pay for his kid, right? If he's going to pay off, you know, so-and-so, then he'll definitely pay to get his kid back. So that's their thinking. You know, they're criminals. They're not going to be that bright. Well, whenever this ransom gets put in and called in and the kid goes missing and stuff like that, which that part is the same, I guess, you know, Sebastian's missing. But either way, I mean, I don't want to play semantics. I'm just kind of giving an example, if you will. But, you know, Mel is, you know, trying to get his boy back. And when they're doing this, it's a very dangerous situation because in real ransom situations, not the movies and everything, a couple of things can happen. And the reason why the police will get involved is because the activities that are going along with all of this, right? You're extorting someone for money and saying, I'm not going to give your child back to you until you pay me, right? That's illegal. And so the police are involved right off the bat when that illegal activity occurs. Then on top of that, you know, finding out where this is coming from so you don't have to pay the ransom because it's a crime and you shouldn't have to pay the ransom, right? Just, you know, kind of laying it out there. Oh gosh, Kiki, Justin made the best points in this video, and it's a short video. It is just really concise and really well put together. We're going to watch it. We're going to watch it. I made my coffee tonight. But so either way, they're involved. So they're tracing the call. So in the movie, you see you see it's pretty intense, right? You got like, you know, the cops set up in their little control center, and every time the person's calling, you know, and Mel Gibson saying to him like, hey, if you have my son and he's alive, let me know, you know, tell me. You know, it was a pretty intense flick. You guys should go watch it if you haven't seen it. But, you know, and he's like, because I need to believe that he's still with us and stuff like that. And so they put him on the phone, and they have his like little eyes taped and everything. It's like super sad, right? Hey, Sammy G. Good to see you. But, you know, so it's really, really sad. It's, you know, it's intense. And, you know, they end up getting the kid back, the kid's safe and whatnot. But the point is that the police are involved, you know, they're there, they're trying to track it down. Because even when you go to deliver the ransom, say it's set up and you're going to go deliver it, there can be another crime, and it's very dangerous. Somebody can get shot, somebody can get hurt, you know, maybe they already took the kid's life or something, you know, there can be a lot of things. I mean, you know, when kids are being held like that, I'm sure they're not, you know, easy to handle. Maybe they got out of hand and something bad happened. So many bad things could happen. And if law enforcement isn't involved, it can be a really bad deal. So there was an alleged ransom that was ignored by a couple of different agencies, and we'll go over it. I'll read it in the deal here that I got. Well, it's a long statement that they made. At Night made a very long statement. I'm not sure the origins of, because it looked like there was some origins that were going to be discussed on Crime Time Buzz, and I didn't watch it. So, you know, feel free to help me out or correct me. But it's my understanding that the ransom tip came in, they told everyone about it, and no one followed up. Like, any of the law enforcement agencies that were notified didn't follow up. Holly S., thank you so much for your super sticker. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, but I don't know what do you guys think about all of this? I mean, it's a lot. It is a heck of a lot. Yesterday was like a whole tailspin of you know, different information about Sebastian, different things coming out. I've only seen half of the info too. SI officer, I'm right with you. Ooh, you had coffee on the golf cart? Cool. Rita, I don't watch TV or movies either. Yeah, because you got the little one. Yeah, Jen, that's funny. This one's an old one though, guys. This isn't a new one. This is an old. Uh, I think it's from the 90s. I think. Ooh, you went to go see Jurassic Park, Halia? Says Rita. Same. My entire family went to see Jurassic Park today. I stayed home, took a nap. That actually, the newest Jurassic Park looked pretty good. I'd go see that in the theaters. There's a couple of decent movies. Look at it looks like that are coming out. You were ignored, Prayer Warrior? For what? I'm sorry, I must have missed something. Are you talking now? I mean, guys, I know we were talking about in here, like the different. Oh, how do I put it? We were talking about how whenever any of us have sent in a tip to law enforcement, it's always been nothing in return, right? Now, I will say that I've called tips in. I've also emailed tips in if I had a video that I needed to send over to them. And I told you my experience. Long story short, they sent me back an email. It was an automated response saying that they don't man those lines 24 hours, da 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 da, you know. And then when I did actually call in the leads, I just spoke with someone and I told them, you know, I fully understand. They did take my phone number. And I just told them I fully understand if you don't call me back, you know, as long as the information gets to the appropriate people, I'm good. And they assured me that it would. But golly, we have a lot to talk about tonight. Sammy G says, oh, missed the goal. Didn't realize you had one up. I just tried to do it for tonight because I saw it on there, Sammy. No worries. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I just do that just to, you know, I mean, I got to do what we all do on here, right? Thank you, Sammy G. Says everyone hit the like button. Thank you. And I appreciate everybody. Like, you know, whether you're here, whether you hit the like, whether you hit the dislike, or, you know, if you just comment below, even if it's something that, you know, we don't see eye to eye on, just know that, you know, I'm just a regular human being. I mean, I'm not going to snap on you or anybody or anything. I enjoy the engagement. I enjoy hearing different people's points of view. And as I said before, hey, September Rain, good to see you. You know, as I said before, I like the conversation and I like to hear what everybody has to say, especially you guys, because you guys are really smart and we talk all the time in here. And just, it makes me think about other possibilities, right? Just not anything that's just popping around in my brain. So you guys bring in new ideas and I am ever so grateful for that. Sammy G says, I think they were going to make the step down call prior to the ransom and they put it off for that reason and had more to fuel their fire after that. SI officer, glad you made it. Yeah, for sure. We love SI officer. And, you know, and then also, Sammy, that is such a good point. I think it's been a long time coming when there was a kind of a second wind and we thought there was some hope that they were actually looking into things and things of that nature. But it turned out that they weren't, I suppose. And we'll just say there's a lot of sketchy behavior, right? There's a lot of things that, you know, I've been made aware of. And I will say that, you know, it's sketchy at best, and it's just downright scandalous at the worst. And it's unfortunate because Sebastian deserves so much better, and I don't have to preach it to you guys. You know, he just does. He's absolutely been failed left and right. And, you know, we've all been guilty of it at certain points, right? Worrying more about like the drama instead of what's important. It's easy to do as human beings, right? Oh, Kiki, thank you so much. Oh, so they didn't hear back from LE until 2 days later. See, and that's the thing, I mean, that time is of the essence. Thank you, Kiki, for letting me know that. I mean, time is of the essence. And thank you so much for your super chat. So yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. And we're going to kind of go through what these accusations are, right? Because this is at night, what they have come up with, and they're speaking their point of view. Law enforcement didn't answer, right? This is just one side of it. But I think it's really important because I do think that At Night is working behind the scenes and as hard as they can to find Sebastian, right? But it doesn't seem that law enforcement is doing the same. And, when I watched Mr. and Mrs. E, they made an excellent point. They were talking about, and it was everybody kind of talking at the same time and saying, it just seems like it's incompetence, like they're not trying. There was a lot of different talk about that where, our perception of the situation is going to be that, right? Because we don't get the updates, and we see updates in other cases until it's resolved, right? And we see a more open approach with law enforcement. In my opinion, we don't see that here. And there's been a lot of injustices lately. I mean, look at the Diddy trial. I'm not even sure. I think he's going to be sentenced here coming up. If he gets a slap on the wrist, God help us all. I mean, there's a reason I don't talk about that disgusting fool. But he absolutely is one of the most vile creatures on the planet. Cinderella says At Night put out a really great account of what happened. Yes, Cinderella, I'm going to read it. It was funny because I screenshotted, right? And then I was putting it in order and trying to upload it. And I was like, oh gosh, I hope I don't forget a piece of it. Because it was just, it all started looking the same when I was trying to post it. It's a very long comment. There are a lot of different updates within it, which I think are very important. So thanks, Cinderella. Yes. And, it's more than we're getting from law enforcement. And I think it's a good update from people who have been on the case as well, researching, speaking with people. Hey, Nancy Fleming, good to see you. She says, I think they will follow the money. I believe someone paid to have that Don't So Sick sounds like the Bower Sox tricks. Yeah. The Bower Sox, and I do believe they have the influence, the money, right? And it's really something that we were seeing a lot of, obviously, with Diddy, right? He's got the influence, he's got the money on a higher level, of course, than I believe that the Proud Feet or the Foot Clan does. But, in a little town, it's comparable sometimes. But also, we saw it in Daniela Mendiola's case, right? Because that power and privilege is something that trumps even the most horrific circumstance, in my opinion. When we see that, it's like, wow, I can't believe that that's even allowed. And the way that they were allowed to even behave in the courtroom, we're going to get into that. We're going to do a video because Olivia just put her interview with Daniela's brother out. And I think that he needs to be heard everywhere. I think his voice needs to be heard. My heart is with them. So, but we'll talk about it. But we see these things happen. We do with power, privilege, wealth, and we hate to be on the receiving end of it. So it's important that we acknowledge it when it happens to others. Prayer Warrior says, I've reached the point that I now believe Sumner County Sheriff's Office knows exactly what happened, in my opinion. I believe so, Prayer Warrior. I think if we can decipher these things, I think they can as well. I really do believe that. I really do. Because we're just like citizen sleuths, right? And they have the tools. They have the training. They have the know-how. And they live it every day. I mean, a lot of us live true crime every day too, I guess, arguably. But, Kiki, yes, thank you. But it's just crazy. Yeah, Helia says prayers, same, horrifying. Crime Time Buzz was really informative last night. See, Kiki, and that was who I was going to go over and watch, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go over and see what this was about, right? And I was shocked to even see it. I mean, because I had just got done saying this is why I was upset a little too, though, because I was like, I just got done saying we're all working to find Sebastian, even law enforcement, and I'm trying to ride the fence over here. Well, look how far that got me, riding the fence. Cinderella says FBI has asked Sumner County for all their digital evidence. Yeah, well, they need to have all of their everything. They need everything. They need to step in. They need to take over. I just fear that because of the situation at hand where they do hold jurisdiction, I hope it's not I hope we don't have to wait for them to hand it over, because I think we'd be wishing in one hand and shitting in the other one, and then we're going to see which one fills up faster, and I guarantee it's the shit one. SI officer says accepting help from marshals or FBI, etc., controlling all of it for their benefit, in my opinion, allegedly. Yeah, and that's the thing. They don't want to accept the help. They welcomed it at first. Again, I was watching over the first 7 days and thinking back over them, right? So right away, there were other agencies that were coming in, even in and around, the surrounding counties and things like that. And, we see that very often when we're in a really small town, right? And you'll see bigger towns coming in with their fire trucks and, everyone, first responders in general, right? Because they all come out to help. That's what those people are there for. That's what they do. A lot of them, that is what their passion in life is. That's what their purpose in life is, right? Cinderella says they don't care. They are not helping, in my opinion. Yeah. And it's frustrating as hell, and it's like, and that's why I just get so frustrated when I try to be neutral and I say, but in this case, because I don't want to disparage the people that really do care, because I know a lot of them do. I fully get it. And I really think that they do care. They do. But there's something that's deeper, whether it was because the investigation was botched at the beginning. I think it was. They should have done more. They should have done more. Town chat, you're eating snacks. That's great. No worries. Don't be sorry. Lady, maybe I don't need to. Megan L says, okay, maybe I do need to take over. Lady's talking about us all shitting in one hand. Meg, you're more than welcome. Oh man, but I won't be mean when I ask you, if I drop the link, I won't be like, take the link, take the fucking link. No, I'm just kidding. All right, sorry. Cinderella says, especially if it's international, this was noticed by higher ups. Yeah. Well, see, and this is what I wanted to get into, Cinderella. I'm so glad you said that, because according to what I was reading, and according to my understanding, there may be certain circumstances where they would come in, right? And we kind of know that as soon as there is evidence showing that there was a federal crime that took place, then that's FBI territory, right? And so I'm just a little bit nervous about Mr. Craddock and how he handles or doesn't handle leads, tips, evidence. Megan L says everyone should want a missing child found, period. I mean, what am I missing, right? I mean, I feel like I'm missing something, Meg. I'm like, I don't get it, because it's like, yeah, who doesn't want Sebastian to be found? For one, he's a great kid, other than that, he's just a person, right? He's a kid. He needs to be found, period. And for someone who's a detective, for some, for these people who are supposedly got into this position to help, I just can't believe that they wouldn't want to. Or maybe I just don't want to believe that they wouldn't want to, or that their power wouldn't take over that hunger to help others, right? Hey, little Miss Sharon, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so I mean, it's, hey, Babs, good to see you. What's Babs say tonight? She says, is it possible to you that LE knows where Sebastian is and they've disclosed that info to another LE agency and that's why they didn't react to this? I never thought of it that way, but I can see where that is possible. Yeah. Well, there was some talk that they possibly thought they knew where Sebastian was, right? But that they wouldn't ever be able to find him or retrieve him. But see, why wouldn't they charge if they thought? I'm just thinking they would have charged by now. But then again, if they don't have enough circumstantial evidence to charge, I mean, because and then also I'm just thinking, if it's me, if I had it halfway figured out, oh my gosh, I would be like, one last fucking push. Let's get this bitch solved. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't be that way. And, take a lesson from Mike Morrison up in Canada, man. He knows what's up. Little Miss Sharon, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the super sticker. That is so sweet. Thank you. Aw. Hey, Shadow. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Hey, Tennessee Nurse. Tennessee Nurse says, oh, sorry, lost you. Dag nabbit, these little. Okay, here we go. Tennessee Nurse says, there's no doubt in my mind that all three agencies involved in this case knows what happened, but knowing without having the hard evidence to present in a courtroom means circumstantial, which takes time. Thank you, Tennessee Nurse. Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And, gosh, I hope to God they know what happened at the very least. I mean, from what I've seen, there's a good chance that they could know. I guess I'll just wait. The bubble gum. Retha Bell says, I just like his bubble gum and personality upon observing him. Yeah, he's definitely, I wonder if he's a smoker. I wonder if he just chews the gum so that way he, like, you know what I mean? Or maybe he was a smoker and he quit. Because he does chomp away, doesn't he? Bab says, immediately they gave me thoughts of that creeper who said he'd John Benet, and yeah, he had done nothing, just a psycho. Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. There's hoaxes all the time. Jean Benet had a hoax attached to hers. Just, there's been so many out there. I mean, Sebastian had a hoax too. What was that one guy that like was claiming that he had him, but he had like glasses and kind of like a light brown hair. I'll have to try to find a picture of him. But oh my gosh, he was a hoaxer, right? I mean, it would be so hard not to, because you have to, well, the thing is you have to take everything seriously. You cannot just be like, well, I don't think that's true, because that's kind of how I felt about a lot of these sightings. Let me just be honest with you guys. I didn't believe that a lot of the sightings were Sebastian, because I was editing the videos as I was showing them to you, and I was like, that's not Sebastian, and I wish it was. And like I said, I was the most emotional that I got was the kid in Missouri that was wearing the green suit after the storm. I knew it wasn't Sebastian, but like when I put the side by side and they were walking next to each other, I was like, God, I wish it was him, because they resembled each other, right? Just a younger version of Sebastian. The side by side helped me kind of decipher it and confirm it, in my own opinion. You may have had a different opinion than I did, right? But that's perfectly okay. But yeah, just that was emotional. That was so close that I was just like, oh, what if this was? I wish this was. That's what I was more. I wish this was Sebastian. So we found him. He's gonna go home to his dad and his mom. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna get on Katie's ass tonight. Bab says if Sebastian is in school, LE knows where he is. Why would they react to a bogus ransom story and alert the FBI, etc.? Well, and that's the thing. I am not 100% on the school. Well, I should say, if I looked at my theories, as like a pie or whatever, I would say like probably, I'm 85% sure that what I've been working on with the flashlight video is what happened to Sebastian, right? But then there's a small part of me that's probably the hopeful part in that other 15% that says, hopefully he's in a school, hopefully he's safe, hopefully he's somewhere. My theory isn't going that way. So, but I understand what you're saying, Babs. Why would they react to this bogus ransom story? Yeah. Well, and the bad thing is Meg says Lady's hot tonight because Miss Piggy didn't let Sebastian have that role. Oh my God, I'm so mad about the role. I'm like, I'm gonna get her tonight. Oh my God. I mean, I'm trying to, keep it at least a little bit. But when I saw that, Meg, I was like, why are you doing that? Why wouldn't you? Little Miss Piggy wouldn't give the role up. Good Lord. Well, we do know that Proudfoot does a great impression of Kermit. I definitely feel that as Sumner County Sheriff's Office knows where he is. Yeah. I mean, if they examined the flashlight video like they said they have, then they would know. They would know. In my opinion, Babs, they would know. There would be no doubt about it. Now, where he is, well, let me back up. Let me just say this. I think that if they watched the flashlight video, they would know what happened to him, but I don't know if they would know where he is. But yeah, I can't spoil the rest of what I want to share at this point. But I know what you're saying. If they have other information, I can see them knowing from that. Yes. The flashlight video is going to show how we left the house, how that happened, right? And then subsequently, TN Nurse says, I think a larger operation was stumped upon, hence the FBI coming in with the reward and the very odd behavior from all agencies. I mean, it's such odd behavior from the agencies that even us regular people are like, what is going on here? What? And then why won't they do anything about these leads and things like that is just super upsetting. It's disappointing because we expect them to. Well, and see, this is, I think Craddock does know too. I think he knows too. Meg says, I think Craddock knows where he is. I do too. If he's truly a detective, he's better than me. He went to school. I mean, I'm just saying, if I can show you guys the theory and feel good about it, why can't he? Cinderella says, if they know, then they're involved. Well, And it would have to be several people too, because this would never be able to be pulled off with just, Katie or just Chris. They have to have other helpers, and we know that they stick together. SI officer says, personally, I honestly would feel really bad if my bipolar frustration, if they do pull this case together. Well, yeah, I mean, I'd feel like happy that they got it together. I mean, I don't feel bad necessarily. I really don't. It's been too long, and they let this stuff go for way too long. I can't believe that they would allow for it. I really can't. It's like the principal of the school allowing, the mean girls to wreak havoc. Once they found out about that, they put the kibosh on it, right? Or they tried. We don't even see them trying to put the kibosh on it. They're just like, oh, whatever. This is great. Well, Miss Sharon says that there's only some people who know where Sebastian is, and it's not Ellie or Seth. God bless him. Well, I don't think. Well, Miss Sharon says I don't think Ellie knows. Golly. Well, who knows? I don't know. Who knows with them? But I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I think they would. My thing is, I just think they'd have to know. Meg, a lot of people say that. I still think the sighting in North Carolina looked just like him. Yeah, a lot of people say that. I've heard that for sure. For sure. And I don't know. I didn't think it was Sebastian either. He was that young man was close too. But I have to tell you, I did discount that one right off the bat. And it was the nose. It was his nose for me. That's what it was. His nose was like pointier, and Sebastian's is like, kind of like wider. I don't know, but you're not the only one that says that. Like Ann Reynolds, Ann, if you're in here, girl, calling Ann Reynolds. She tells me that all the time. She says it in the chat. Who else? I was going to shout you guys out in the comments, but I'm sorry. But somebody else told me in the comments that I read today and replied to. Yeah, so that's interesting. That's interesting because I didn't think that was Sebastian, but you guys kind of got me wondering now. I can't lie only because so many people have said it. And then also another thing that was interesting also was that Seth, I'm not sure if Seth actually saw this child and confirmed it himself. And then people got me thinking about that. And so I was like, well, I don't know if he didn't confirm it himself, Hey, Brenda Calvert. Brenda Calvert says, I think Ellie knows exactly what happened to Sebastian. Yeah. So you guys are kind of like, I'm seeing a little bit of a 50-50 here. Let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and pop this first up. I just want to show you guys like the kind of general. So this is from At Night. And it's like One World Private Intelligence Agency something, corporation. If I get it wrong, guys, please forgive me. I don't know. You know what I mean? So, but either way, sorry, my bra strap is falling down. Okay, so I got Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, statement by At Night Creative Intelligence in One World. Okay, there we go. And it's so small. So this is immediate release. This happened yesterday sometime, right? There's a phone number. Oh, let me take down this girl. Let me take down this girl really quick. Okay, there we go. So all of that, I hope you guys got a good chance to read that. I'm not going to kind of read it out really. And best advice I can give, call 911. if you see Sebastian. So this is a joint statement by At Night Creative Intelligence and One World Society, addressed to national media, federal and local agencies, and the general public, right? So all of these, basically the free world. So it says At Night Creative Intelligence and One World Society renew urgent call for federal intervention in the disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. So they're calling for a federal investigation, intervention in this case. And, you know, I think that is something that has been really a topic from the beginning. We have Seth, who was asking for that type of help to begin with, essentially, because there was just so many things that were wrong, even from the very beginning, you know, even from the very beginning. And that's my opinion. That's kind of what I observed, at least, and what I can recall. And I'm going to put some comparisons together as well for us of past interviews. I'm working on that too. So the incidents listed are just a few among many as the situation approaches the 1 year mark. At Night Intelligence and its allies only recently came to fully understand the extent of the systematic failures involved. Okay, so again, at the 1 year mark. So if we back up, if we think of the 1 year mark, right? That was back in February. And before that, we had Sebastian's birthday, the Texas Roadhouse footage was released, and then we had Christmas, right? And the holidays. So around that time, so just think back to that time, they were trying to give Seth renewed hope, in my opinion. It seemed that way, at least. Because I do remember him going on and stating that on one of the local news channels. I think it was 2 or 4 in Nashville. And he said that, right? So now we're moving along to this one. And it says July 1st, 2025. I don't know what Fort Worth, Texas. I'm not sure why it says that. Either way, and this is just a refresher for those of you who don't know about Sebastian. Sebastian Rogers, 16 now, last visually seen leaving the Texas Roadhouse in Hendersonville, Tennessee on the evening of February 25th, 2024, has now been missing for 16 months, despite unprecedented private sector efforts. So, guys, I have to say this. I think that At Night has really thrown everything that they can at Sebastian's case. I really do. And I do want to give credit where credit is due there, and just say thank you for them doing this and for all of their hard work in trying to figure this out, right? It's like, you know, they were handed a big ball of yarn that had been, you know, ransacked by 12 kittens, and then they were expected to, you know, figure out how to straighten it out. So you're not going to ever hear me shade them unless they do something particularly awful, right? So either way, I agree. There's been exhaustive efforts on many fronts. Crucial leads remain unexplored, right? Which is unfortunate, and I do believe this to be true. Essential questions unanswered. And persuasive misinformation continues to hinder the investigation. And I couldn't agree with that more. We hear a lot of this bull crap out and about. And we also saw it spill on to the mainstream streets of America's Most Wanted. the rhetoric that they wanted the rest of the world to see, because they know that this small little part of YouTube that actually knows Sebastian's story isn't going to be able to influence the way that they did when they did that at the America's Most Wanted. And I'm sorry, but they did. They took out the end of the flashlight video. That is completely influencing someone else's decision to fully be informed and then make their decision from there. They robbed the public of that choice, in my opinion. They robbed the public of the accurate and full information, so that way they can infer something rather than say, oh, well, you know, there was light sources, big deal, because that's what I would have said. I would have disregarded that because it proves nothing. But what the end of the video proves is that someone did go back to Sebastian's house with their flashlight. And it appears that there's a reason why. So, given these critical investigative gaps and ongoing misinformation threats, independent investigators and at-night creative intelligence now urgently call for the immediate and comprehensive federal intervention. Right? So they want the FBI to intervene. Sebastian vanished under suspicious circumstances after dining at the restaurant with his mother. At this time, he was 15 years old, approximately 5'5" tall, weighed around 120 pounds, wore a black t-shirt with Yoda blue jeans, and had square-framed glasses. Sebastian has high-functioning autism and a rare chromosome deletion. All right, so I think this is a good time. Let me just write down this. Okay, so I think this is a good time to show the Texas Roadhouse video. And I'm going to show Justin first.
Watch this moment closely, because what happens next may say more than you think. It's just a roll, or is it a red flag? You tell me. Tonight we're zooming in on the moment that a lot of people might have missed or may have dismissed. But to me, it speaks volumes. We're looking into the Texas Roadhouse footage. The video was taken the evening before Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers went missing from his Hendersonville home in Tennessee. It shows Sebastian and his mother, Katie Proudfoot, sitting at the table at the restaurant. On the surface, it's just a mom and her son having dinner. Let's look closer, because there's a particular moment that really caught my attention. In this clip, Sebastian reaches out innocently, casually, for another one of those famously hot rolls at Texas Roadhouse. You know, the ones that they give you that aren't optional. They come with the table. And then, watch closely. You'll see what looks like his mother scolding him. It's subtle, a hand movement, a sharp look, something she does with her mouth. But to me, this is just my opinion. It felt like a correction. And the way Sebastian jerks his arm back. On its own, it might be nothing. But when you zoom in and look at this moment in the context of the entire case, it sticks with me. Because here's what we know. Sebastian is autistic. He's a 15-year-old boy who had sensory sensitivities. Routines mattered. Comfort mattered. And something as small as being told not to take a warm roll, something familiar and something safe. And the bigger question is, was this about the roll, or was this about control? It's just one moment, but sometimes one moment tells a bigger story. Now again, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, so let me be clear. In my opinion, there was clearly something about food about Sebastian, allegedly stored from behind his bed, the wrappers and all of that. And from what we've been told by people close to the family, Sebastian lived a very controlled life inside his house. And it also makes me wonder what else was happening behind the scenes that we didn't see. I'm not saying a roll is evidence, but I am saying a pattern starts somewhere. And in this case, with much more silent, And these few leads, sometimes it's the little moments that speak the loudest. A child, especially a child with autism, is reaching for comfort. And that response of control and discipline, it raises red flags, not criminally, but emotional ones, real ones. Was Sebastian allowed to self-soothe? Was he allowed to eat when he was hungry? Was he nurtured or just managed?
Okay, guys. Was he... Oh, sorry. Let me take this one down. Was he allowed to eat when he was hungry? That's something that I am very curious about. Was he allowed to eat when he was hungry? Because we know that Katie says that he was rummaging for snacks, right? He was rummaging for snacks, Katie, in his own house. Really? Okay, so is it just a role or is it power and control? What do you guys think? 1 in the chat for just a role, 2 in the chat for power and control. And I'm sorry, guys. I'll get back to you guys. Or I'm sorry if I'm behind in the chat. Hey, Hindsight. Good to see you. Good to see everyone coming in. Welcome in, guys. Hey, Detroit Rock City. Good to see all you guys. Okay, there we go. Why is this so small? Hold on. This is a pain in the patchouli when it does this. Yeah, I think a 2. Sammy says 2. Hey, C. Taylor. Nurtured by dad, controlled by others. Yeah, I think so too, C. Taylor. Absolutely. Yeah. Good night, Retha. Sleep well, sleep well. He started doing these shorts with the scripts, or he could have added his voice. I know. I like the way he did that. I love the way he did that, Sammy. 222 Tina Girl. Hey, Tina Girl says power and control all day, every day. I mean, it definitely seems that way. I mean, she might as well have, when he put his hand out, she might as well have did this one, right? Like, you know, in the movies you see it, like, oh, you know, go to grab it. Boop. Nope. I mean, she might as well have. He definitely knew, and he took it back right away, you know, as if, you know, to be. Ann Reynolds says 2 as well. Babs, that's a really great point. We will never know because we didn't live in that house. We weren't around them. It's all speculation. So it really is. It really is. I think it's so eye-opening, though, to watch that. And I do have it slowed down with the, you know, kind of slow. We're going to slow jam it, you know, because it's like, it's unbelievable to me. It really is. SI officer says we can go by what our eyes see and judge. I still, which I'm still believing control too, but what if a gluten allergy and she didn't want him to fill up on, before dinner. Right. Exactly. No. And I mean, I totally get that. And I, like I said, myself, if I'm going to save room for steak and stuff, I wouldn't be able to eat like more than 1 roll because, you know, but you want to, but I mean, he's a boy, he's a growing boy. I mean, I don't know. See, that's what hangs me up there. Tennessee Nurse says Justin is very assertive, and I have always had the same outlook and theories. He's one of the few that agrees with me. No, I agree too. And I think what he said about looking at the case as a whole and, you know, going back and then looking at it and seeing the whole picture, that's why we're thinking like this, right? Like typically I might not think that. I might think, oh, it's just a mom and she's telling him, you know, she's giving him her rules and she's allowed to raise her son however she wants. You know, I do feel that way. Absolutely. I certainly wouldn't want people to tell me how to raise my daughter either. So, I mean, I get that part. But knowing what we know, that's what's so hard, you know? I know, a whole basket of rolls, right, Kiki? I mean, gosh. And then when you're out to eat, you're kind of allowed to eat a little bit more, right? The calories don't count. Is that how it goes? No, I'm just kidding. I know that's not how it works. But, you know, it's one of those things. I'm sorry, Retha. I know it is triggering. I told you I'm gonna call her a big fat lady in a second here. Um, because I can't believe what she does. I can't believe what she does here. Hey, Carla, good to see you. Brenda says no food came after. I don't know if that was the end of, because I mean, it's like whatever. It's like never ending rolls, or right, or whatever. Like, it's like you could ask for more. But I was thinking, you start out with, if you're, and like I said, I've been a server before, so I kind of think, and then I've also been in Texas Roadhouse, and I think they start you out with like 2 a piece, right? So like when the waitress is getting the bread for the table, if there's 2 people sitting there, I would think she would put 4 rolls, and we kind of see. I'll show you kind of why I think that too is the case here, and that's why I think that maybe Sebastian already did eat 1 roll because, and I'll show you, but. Detroit Rock City says, but yet she has 2 on her plate and is still stuffing her face. I know, that's what drove me nuts, is because she's got like the 2, like she swipes up 2 of them babies and she pops them on her plate and he's watching. Okay, so here I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you guys, like, as I'll tell you as I'm talking, or show you as I'm talking. It's sad. It's just, I really wish this wasn't the case. So here we see Katie, and this is kind of going to go on a loop, but either way, I mean, she's going to grab a big old bunch of butter for herself and slather that on that baby, and she's pretty particular about the way she does things. She eats it, and Sebastian's kind of watching, right? He's watching. And then, of course, I put it on a loop, slowed it down too. Katie has something in her hand here. She swipes up the 2 biscuits. And it's kind of like Sebastian was being polite at first. Like, okay, mom has her 2, and now I'm going to grab my second one. That's what I'm seeing. But you guys let me know what you think. She just goes up and swipes up two biscuits and then uses a whole fucking thing of butter on it. And then he goes to grab one. She's like, says something. That's enough, maybe, or something. But it's okay for you to grab 2 and put them on your plate? Are you kidding me right now, Katie? I mean, this is what you don't expect to see. I would too. I'm just like your kids see, Taylor. I would fill up on the rolls too. I would. Sure, it's possible that he'd fill up on the rolls, not eat dinner. My kids would do that, just not sure here. Yeah, I would. I mean, same here. I gotta like tell myself no more rolls, even though it's like I'm sitting there looking at it. I do want another roll. But I mean, I don't know. Why not just let him have it? I'm a little bit different though. Like I said, when I'm out, and it's like, I just kind of, you allow for a little bit more than you would, I guess, because it's a special occasion, right? It's like, it's a special time. And he just looks like he wants it, I don't know. And I could be just, but it just definitely looks odd that she would take 2 and put them on her plate and not let him have one single one. Unless he already ate one, which it looks like he does have a fork and a knife on his plate. She didn't want him to get fat like her. That's a strong possibility, Cece. Hey, Cece. Yeah, it's a strong possibility. I think she's saying, wait, but we should have a professional lip reader. I know. It's so hard to see when she's on a profile too. We might be able to make it, out slowed down face to face. It should be a relaxing time, Kiki. I agree. Especially after that full day. You're just hungry. You want to, get a bite. And, I'd be ready to go home and go to bed after that day. Yeah, Babs says, I don't need to see any more proof on how horrible of a mom Katie was or is to him. She didn't deserve him. Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. Damn sure didn't deserve her. Yeah, good night. I know, Babs, and I appreciate you being here, and I know it's tough to watch. Trust me. Yeah, Sasha, very well done in a great catch by Justin. Really great catch by Justin. You know, SI officer says, like with Yellow Coat, I tried to tell many that he was a cancer patient, but not only were their minds made up about him, it was, if you're not around these patients, mask gloves are shady. Yeah, well, I mean, that's, I will say though, Tennessee Nurse, like a lot of people were saying that. I think even C Taylor was one that we were talking, and we were talking about like an autoimmune disease, even like maybe he has an autoimmune disease, the Yellow Jacket. And Detroit Rock City says if he doesn't finish his food, he can take it home. They have carry-out boxes. Oh, that is so true, right? I always take a doggy bag, always. I am like the queen of that because I never finish my food ever. Like I never do. And it's probably because I do eat too many rolls. That's probably what it is. Who am I kidding? Thanks, Detroit. I agree. So yeah, that's such a great point. Yeah, and see, this is another thing that kind of puts this into context, right? Sammy says, somebody had to say it. I mean, look at the birthday party. Sebastian can hardly be seen if he's turned sideways. Well, he's so little. Exactly. That's the thing. If he was overweight, it might be a health concern, right? And they have an agreement. Hey, only one roll. That's all we need for now. We got food coming. I get that, and again, I don't want to be the one to tell people how to parent. I don't, because that's not up to me. I'm not a parenting teacher, you know what I mean, or anything like that. But but when you look at it and you are a mom, and a lot of us kind of feel that way too about how thin, and then just again they're out. I don't know, and I hate to make a mountain out of a molehill, but I also, it hurts my heart to see it. And when I saw it, I just thought, I think we should discuss this, because given the context of what we've seen in the case and heard, there might be something to that, right? We heard about Sebastian hiding wrappers, of whatever food wrappers in his room. So Tina Girl says she has 2 on her plate, and that's what makes me mad. Yeah, same here. Same here. I'm frustrated as hell about that. That's what made me mad too. And then she's putting all that butter on there, and he's watching her. And it really looks like he's watching to be courteous, and says, okay, maybe he's thinking in his head, okay, mom's got her two biscuits, and I should get one, one more, because they maybe brought 4 to the table. Halbert says, I really don't like giving Katie the benefit of the doubt, but he also may have more issues when eating gluten, etc. We don't know. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, it's okay to give people the benefit of the doubt, Brenda. I don't mind it at all, because I really want to hear your guys' take on things. Because my initial reaction to this was a little different than when I kept on watching or when I slowed it down. And so I always kind of like to show that to you all too. So we can discuss it, and little mannerisms that you all might pick out that I didn't, but she does give him a sharp look. Like Justin said, she does seem to scold. She does seem to do something with her mouth, whether she says that's enough or wait, something, and he was very hesitant. Another thing that bothered me is he was very hesitant to take another role. And, I don't know. SI officer says, I really don't think that the Yellow Jacket guy has anything to do with anything. And I believe maybe he was on video chat and didn't have his camera turned around, and it just looked in Sebastian's area. And that's very possible, SI officer, because I was always wondering, is it an image? Is it a video? It seems to come into focus is what made me think it was possibly a video. But then again, I don't know. Okay, C. Taylor says yes. Hey, perfectly imperfect boy mom. Says, against popular belief, if you watch the clip that follows, I think she told him no because she wanted him to not to fill up on rolls before his food came out. Yeah, perfectly imperfect boy mom. I do think that could be a strong possibility, and I did consider that too, because again, those complimentary rolls are given to you as like an appetizer, right? And so you could very well fill up on that and then, not want to eat the rest. Anne says if you could see her face, so I could see what she is saying, I could tell you, right? I know that's what's so hard, right? Because it's just her profile. So it's very difficult even when we slow it down to make out, indefinitely what she's saying. C. Taylor C says I have a family with autoimmune. Yeah. And I mean, that goes for anything though, right? Too, the cancer, any of that. Tina Girl says, listen, I love my steak. I like to eat it cold. Right? Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I could totally see why a mother would only say one roll for the night, or until you get your food. If you're still hungry, then have at it, so I can see that. Kiki says I must be a strict mama. I say bring on rolls and we'll take our food home if we're full. Or I must not be a strict mama. She says I say bring on the rolls and we'll take our food home if we're full. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it depends on when you're out to eat. It just depends, because I mean those rolls are really they're good. They're really, really good over there. Sasha Johnson says I said to the person I'm living with, we need some potpourri burners with cubes of wax. She said I got some there that were 2 dragons. Oh, that's so cool. Her husband really liked dragons. He left us 9 months. Aw. Oh my goodness, that's so cool. I love that, Sasha. Very cool. Brenda says I do think they fixated on food in that home, though. They have talked about his eating on a lot of the interviews. And see, that's what makes me think it's maybe a little bit more to discuss, Brenda, too. Absolutely. Thank you. I mean, that was my way of thinking anyway. Is like, okay, well, maybe so. Maybe there is more to this. Hindsight says I agree with Kiki. His whole demeanor changed after that. Yeah. Oh my, I feel so bad for him, Meg. Oh my gosh. His whole demeanor changed. Excuse me. After that, he slumped down, slid into the corner, and started to pick and bite his nails. Oh, see, that's just heartbreaking. It's like the defeat, right? But why? It's just a roll. Tina Girl says, why not let him have half and you think he won't eat all of his food? Oh, that's a good point. You can give him half, like let him have a half a roll if he's still like a little bit hungry. Yeah, that's a great point. And I mean, he was only getting a salad, right? Did they say he had a salad with salmon? Here we go again with that. Lord Almighty, help us all. Put a 1 in the chat if he had salad. No, I'm just kidding. Kiki says, LOL, hindsight. I mean, I don't see the big deal. Give that baby some rolls. Give that child some rolls already. My God, I don't know. And I mean, I like to think I'm kind of in the middle with strictness, but food, I'm just always like, I don't know. Let them eat. They're kids, especially a boy. I don't know. I mean, even little girls, because you don't want them to think, like, you don't want them to have a negative body image. You don't want them to think that that's all they are to the world as what they look like. I mean, as well. But in the same way, if it's not healthy, I get that point. I do. But I also, there's just too much more to this if we look at the whole entire context, in my opinion. You know, because believe me, I've been that mom, you know, if there's a sweet before, because it is kind of like a sweet butter that they give you, right? It's like the rolls are sweet already. They're lots of sugar and yeast and stuff. So yeah, it is kind of like a treat before your meal. I understand that as well. And you know, you want them to eat what they got. Megan L says KP and CP has issues with food as far as Sebastian goes when they speak sneaking food. Right. Children don't normally have to do that. No, they don't. And it's not looked at like as rummaging if you're in your own cabinets, you know, getting some food. You're going to get a snack, you know, you're going to get some food. Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom says, and when his food comes out, you see him take a few bites and make a yuck face. Oh, and doesn't eat what's on the plate, just the side in the middle, or excuse me, just the side in a little bowl. Oh, okay, so I thought he had like macaroni too or something, so maybe he ate. What? Maybe she made him get like the salad with the dressing on it, but he didn't like it because remember they were saying he doesn't usually eat salad with the dressing on it, but he did. Carla says my mom made homemade bread and rolls every day when we grew up. She never told us no when we wanted more. Aw, yeah. I mean that's how it was growing up with me too. I don't know. It's weird. That was never an issue. Like we could always get whatever we wanted as long as it wasn't like, I don't know. I know. I want to go to the Texas Roadhouse to get their rolls too. They're so good. Town Chat Cafe says I personally never thought he was CT, but in my opinion, I thought maybe he was one of the underground people that help people disappear or give them new identities. That's what my only concern. Yeah, I was wondering about that too because of the pictures being taken, right? And then why would he have the picture? And then, you know, you hear about the people that do come in the middle of the night and take the kids out of their bed and take them to those schools. So, and we hear that they were looking into the schools. So obviously that kind of would corroborate that. I know Tina Girl says Sebastian is nothing but skin and bones. Let him eat if he wants to eat. And you know, you're out. It's a special night. You know, what's it gonna hurt him? You know, I know. I feel that way. C. Taylor says it's hard for me to be objective seeing this months later, since as far as I know, this is the last minute's hour of proof of life. You know, C. Taylor, that is probably, if I'm being truthful with myself, that's probably where my hang up is too. Yeah, because I was kind of alluding to that a little bit earlier where it's like I might be reaching a little bit because of the circumstances, right? Because it's like you're just thinking, yeah. Yeah, I agree. You can't, Sasha? Dang. Sasha says, I absolutely could not find the infrared video, and I watched it, so I don't know where the heck it came from. I can only hope someone else saw it, or eventually I'm perplexed by this. Oh no, Sasha. And you know, I haven't seen it anywhere, or I would have, you know, grabbed it up because I know we've been looking for it. Dang. Well, you learned how to read lips, Miss Ann. That's cool. That is a really cool thing to know. I know. I want to see it too, essay officer. I was hoping we'd be able to track it down. I thought maybe it was AI, but I don't know. I can't find it anywhere. My history, comments, watched videos. It's weird. Subscriptions. Oh, weird. That is weird, Sasha. Huh. Yeah, hindsight, talk about it. It would be really helpful here. And I think it would be more clear to some of us too, just the face to face, because certain, words or, letters we pronounce, we all kind of use the same. I don't even know how you would say it, lip movements or whatever. Megan L says, I absolutely agree with Kiki. Sebastian was skinny for his age and weight, and I'd have let him eat all the rolls he wanted. Yeah, and see that I hated seeing her swipe up 2 rolls and put them on her damn plate, and then, oh, here's a bunch of butter, and now I'm just gonna eat them right in front of you. Like, I felt like she was eating in front of him, and the setting of the bad example. This is what I don't like either, because I've been in management positions, I'm a mom too, whatever. So you can't do things in front of your children and expect them not to follow exactly what you're doing, right? It's called modeling, and that's what kids do because they're learning, they're mimicking, right? Different things like that. So one part that Katie did in the beginning, and I didn't show this part tonight, but in the Texas Roadhouse videos, there's a part where they sit down at the table and Sebastian points to the game system that's on the table that you can also pay your bill with, right? And she says no, and she gives him a menu. We're here to eat, right? Kind of a thing. But then she's messing on her cell phone the whole entire time, and he's sitting there bored. And then we see this with the biscuits, and it's like, okay, so he can only have 1 biscuit, but you can have 2. It's just not right. It's almost like a deliberate, I'm going to fuck with you because I can and because I'm your mother. And you're going to listen to me because I say so. So I give it a big number 2. It's not just a role, it's power and control. For sure, for sure. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. But really, I don't think that I am, because it's just that grabbing up those 2 rolls and he's watching, and I'll share a story that someone told me about their childhood, and I'm not going to say who it was or anything like that, but I'll just say it's a story about someone's childhood that I know personally. This person went to live with their dad when they were a little bit older. I think they were like 15 years old. And behaviorally, they weren't being very good, right? So mom sent him to their dad's, right? Well, his dad was married to a woman who would do things like eat treats in front of the kids and not let them have anything. And so she'd be like, this is so good, and like taunt them, right? And not let them have anything. And this is what it reminded me of. Because I was talking with this person and they're like, I don't have any trauma really or whatever. And I was like, we all have trauma. And then he shared this with me. And I was like, that's definite trauma. And that is definitely, as Justin was saying, it's subtle, but it's emotional trauma, right? You're doing something in front of someone else and using your position of power to say, you can't do this, but I'm going to do it, and with food, there's just nothing right about that. It's very sick. It's vindictive. It's not normal. There's nothing normal, especially when a parent or a parental figure, right? This was this person's stepmother, is doing that, and the kids are sitting there watching you do that, and you're not giving them any. Oh, I'm going to eat all this ice cream right in front of you and not give you, a lick of ice cream, literally. It's sick. It's sadistic. It's childish. It's gross. It's abusive, all of it. And I see that here. I do. She just swipes up 2 of those rolls, and boy, I'm surprised she didn't take his butter. She wasn't going to give him any. Absolutely sick. Kiki says, but then not fat shaming anyone, because Lord knows I gain weight, but CP and KP look like they have plenty of rolls in the shame Sebastian. Well, and that's the thing too, it's like, I don't like to shame people either, but when I see her with all this butter and everything, I'm thinking, Jesus, Lord, woman, what are we doing? What is life right now and what are we watching? And, and this is Sebastian. This is the last time we see Sebastian, arguably, right? We say, okay, well, there's a trash can video. All right, well, there's a trash can video. I don't know. It's still the last time he's seen publicly. But I watched a video, the flashlight video, broader spectrum, infrared, and two people in the neighbor's crawl space. Shed pulling up out of the hole with fluid and carry it out. Oh my goodness. That's interesting, Sasha. I wish we could find it. I wish we knew where it came from, Well, and that's going to happen, in this case. It did. We're none of us are ever going to be 100% right in this, I have a feeling that when we find out what actually did happen, we're going to be shocked, and it'll be a surprise. TN nurses, I'm not judging. I was actually very disappointed in myself for about a week. I almost allowed my opinion to be swayed from what I had known. We all see things differently, and that's okay. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's hard, is not getting your opinion swayed one way or another, because it does happen. If and not forgetting, that's such a great point, not forgetting what we already know. That's why I want to kind of keep it to where, all right, this is what we know. And honestly, what really sucks about the situation is a lot of the information that we do know is coming from Chris and Katie, who have given the information, and they haven't been truthful, and we've caught them with within lies. And Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom says, I believe they have had a food fixation, but on one hand, ADHD meds make you lose your appetite. Very true. Yeah, my son would fill up on rolls. He loves bread, and then he wouldn't eat his meal and is so picky, so he doesn't. Yeah. That's me. That's how and especially when I was a kid, I'd be like, I don't even like meat. I don't want it. Eat the leftovers. Then he's full on starches and no protein. Right. Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom. I would have told my son, wait, after you eat your food, you can have more rolls. Yeah, because they'll bring them out hot the whole time, your whole dinner. They will. They're like, complimentary rolls that you can have, however much you want. That's what I was thinking. He had salmon, Brenda, but then Chris Proudfoot told Elevated Truth that the reason why Katie was taking the pictures was because of the dressing, that Sebastian doesn't usually eat the dressing on his salad, and he did this time. Again, we're getting this information from these people. It's like, oh, forget about it. I've never heard about the activity in the neighbor's shed either, Carla. No, ma'am, I have not. Sasha says I'm hungry. I need some chips. Go get you a glass of popcorn. Hey, Bobby Brutzman, good to see you. Says, okay, Yellow Coat had a rose-colored phone, which pics of Sebastian on it, so maybe he's local, but how do we dismiss that? I know, Bobby, I'm with you on that. I'm still, and I didn't do a recognition yet or see, but I do want to put something together about that and see if we can find some similarities, some differences. The Yellow Coat guy has this weird head. Oh, this is horrible. I shouldn't say it like that. All right, so back that up. I apologize. You don't have a weird head, Yellow Coat. Everybody has unique features, right? We all do. He has this, the way his head is shaped is, he's bald and you can see every contour of his head, right? And this isn't how I can see it, but in the back of his head, it kind of goes out like this, right? See it like that. and it's very pronounced. And I'm going to try to see if I have a picture. And I betcha I took it out because I had to load all these in. See, and you can't really, yeah, you can't see because I'm focused on Sebastian in that one. But he does. He has like this little part that comes out there. And I'd really need to look at maybe a profile, and that would help, of Tommy, and I could, ooh, a chocolate shake sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I'm not dismissing or saying 100% either way because we just don't know. You know what I mean? It is gaining wisdom. Amen. Amen. Hindsight, that's for sure. Her self-awareness is lacking for sure, in my opinion. C. Taylor, oh, all day. And I don't understand. It's like, it's mean. I just don't, like I said. And when somebody told me that, my heart broke for that person that told me that their stepmom was doing that to them. And I feel like that's what she's doing to Sebastian here. Like, ooh, I get 2 roles, and he wants another one. Why just give him a freaking role? I don't know. And like I said, I might be being biased. Brenda says Chris controls her and she controls Sebastian, in my opinion. Well, and Brendan, that's a good point, because when you're being controlled, sometimes the only control you have is to control someone else, if that makes sense, right? And so that dynamic does pour over when you're in toxicity. Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom says, that's true, Lady Freedom. If I told my kid to chill on the rolls, I would chill on the rolls too. I wouldn't eat them while he was watching. Yeah, thanks, Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom. I would too, because I feel like bad. Like, I'd feel like a hypocrite. Like, I'm over there. I don't be over there eating my, 7 rolls. You can only have 1, sir. Kind of thing. Oh, see, that's my jam, Detroit. See, she says my brother would wake up at like 3 a.m. and ask for toast with butter. He was a heart patient and small for his age. He would eat a whole loaf if he could. He's 46 now and 6'2". Yeah, and I mean, it's like about boundaries too, right? Or like, what is it, portion control and whatnot. I mean, I get that. You're right. Yeah, but that's me too. Like, cinnamon bread or something. That's so good, and I'm a happy camper. It doesn't take a lot to please me there. So, but yeah, I'm totally, and see, that's why I might be biased in this situation, because I'm like, give him another role. You know what I mean? Like, because I like roles too. Thank you for being here, Bobby. I really appreciate your feedback here. Thank you. Oh, heard Nisi say she saw something coming out of the ground, but I haven't seen that part yet. I started with the van ladder moving and the floodlights being taken down with the crank up thing. Oh, okay. I wish that we had confirmation from one of the neighbors about the floodlights, because I was going over some old pictures today and I stumbled upon where Dolly had taken a picture of the floodlights and he was showing them on his show, that they had been replaced, because there was the 2 really big like halogen bulbs, that were allegedly not there, and then they were there after Sebastian went missing, right? So I'd like to see that, Sammy. Thanks. The parents don't miss any meals. And, I think that's what gets me really upset too, is a lot of the times when we hear about these children who are being like starved and things, like the parents are humongous and they don't care about carbs and versus proteins and things like that. They don't give a crap. They're over there stuffing their face. And I'm like, oh, it just chaps my ass, it just chaps my ass. Brenda Culvert says KK was stress eating, in my opinion. I think so too. And when you're just sitting inside and you're not getting any exercise, that's what happens, to all of us. We're not none of us are immune to that. You know, if you just sit around and eat all day, you're not gonna, you know, you're not gonna lose weight. That's for sure. TN Nurse says, medically, the only valid reason I can think of if he has polyphagia or hyperphagia, I've seen these in teenagers, especially boys, and it's common for those on the spectrum. Oh, okay, Tennessee Nurse. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate your comment there. Yeah, and I mean, we don't know everything about Sebastian's diagnoses or even like comorbidities that could have existed within. You know, we know about the chromosome deletion, the pocket of fluid on his brain, and then autism and ADHD. But you know, there's a lot of underlying things, and you know, his late diagnosis, there may have been other things that were going to be late to diagnose too. Sasha says, and we don't get paid, and if some do, it's not many in comparison, so we are the elite. Well, and I just think that we could all do our part to try to figure this out. I really do. Thanks, SI officer. Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom says, I'm so confused on these videos y'all are talking about. Maybe I'm just tired. I know. It's neat. See Marie put some videos out. There's a lot of really good videos that have been coming out. My best friends who were twins would come over for food every day. They had 7 kids in their family, and our mother would hoard and their mother would hoard food. Oh no, they were always starving. Oh, we had 6 kids, but my mom would Detroit. Jeez. That's so sad. Hey, Forget Me Not. But my mom would feed them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Aw, that's so sweet. And see, you know, I hate to hear about a kid being hungry because, you know, they can't think properly. Have you ever been so hungry that, like, because I'll do this. I'll, like, drink coffee and I'll, like, forget to eat until, like, 6:30 at night. And I'll be like, I'm, like, starving, you know? And I literally get, like, a brain fog about myself, right? Like, I'm just, like... And then once I eat, I feel like, you know, Mario when he eats a mushroom and he's like back to full power again. You know what I mean? So it's fuel for us to eat. You know, it's good. And I just can't imagine. And then when kids have to go to school hungry and they do poorly in school because of that, it is so sad. Tia Nurse says, I mean, I was told by someone who knows this poor man, yet I somehow allowed my brain to think otherwise for a few days. So disappointed in myself. Well, you know, Tennessee Nurse, that happens. That happens all the time. You know, I've said it before too. I've been disappointed in myself too with Sebastian's case in certain areas. There's things that I'm proud of, and then there's things that I'm not. You know. So, and it's just so hard, and especially getting involved with some of the channels that you watch, and there's so much drama, and it's just, you know, there's no room for it in true crime, you know, whatsoever. Yeah, they've been analyzing them like crazy. Hey, Dolly says, I haven't been able to watch much lately, and I saw part of Justin's about the yellow jacket guy, but does anyone know what was with the pictures on his phone then? Yeah, that's where I'm stuck. That's where I'm also stuck, and I haven't been able to do the comparison just yet. But thanks for being here, Dolly. I appreciate you. But yeah, I mean, because I can't say either way at this point. I just don't think the resemblance is strong enough if I'm thinking about it. You know, it's so hard with him wearing the mask. That's another thing that's really discouraging. And I also would like to just talk to Tommy, you know. I wish that he would come out and speak publicly. I do. Well, and I know, what's the big deal with the dressing? That is such a good point, C. Taylor. And why would it matter if he ate dressing? Seriously. Yeah, I don't understand that either. Like, what is the deal with the dressing? If anything, it's healthier not to have dressing. Am I right? I don't know any dressings that are, well, I will say, like, the vinaigrettes and stuff can be like a healthier option, right? Because it's just like oil, vinegar, right, and then some spices and stuff, and you could do a healthier dressing, as opposed to like something really fatty like ranch, but still, it's weird. Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom says they bring out a salad and then more bread and then the main meal in the video. You can see it if you watch the whole video. Okay, so, you're saying they did salad and then bread and then the main meal in the video. Okay, thank you, Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom. Because I know they do bring out the bread as an appetizer type of a thing, even though it is a sweet bread. You know, remember with that equipment, yeah. I wonder what that piece of equipment was too. Hey Dream, good to see you. Was there a food allergy that was served that could have caused an unexpected reaction? Well, we were wondering about gluten-free. I don't think Sebastian was gluten-free though. I don't remember as much as they talked about like the food and then also I will say you just jogged my memory. So thank you about the allergies. Katie said that Sebastian was only allergic to grass pollen. And then also they were saying like work and school and, the other bit. But she did not mention any like nut allergies or food allergies. I don't think she did. Just grass, The picture on the phone has me hung. Same here. I really, because I was really excited. I was thinking, okay, we're going to find out what's going on with this guy. And maybe he has a good excuse, or maybe he's going to say like, oh, my grandson was on my phone or something like that. But then it was just kind of like, the proof that he was at the Roadhouse and that was Tommy. So I was like, dang, because I really, I don't know. It's so hard. Sammy says, SI, that is 100%. I believe that is why Nick and Jen Koff walked it back, because they didn't want people getting too far into it once they knew what it was. Sumner was pissed about the BC whole thing. Yeah, because the whole thing. Yeah. I agree with that. I think they've walked us back from a couple of things that are of importance, Sammy. Yes, I do. I really do. Especially that 3 a.m. lights video. That's, all we got, Well, Miss Sharon says, I'm a mom of an autistic teen, and if she doesn't like it dressing, it's not going to change at the restaurant for a photo op. That is such a good point, little Miss Sharon. Oh, amen. And that is, what a good point. We talked about too yesterday about, children with autism are very regimented, right? And very much a creature of their habits that they like, and I'm like the same way. I like to have my own thing too, and, certain kinds of things. And like you said, it wouldn't make a difference. I will say that, like, I never was a big fish person. And then I went out to a lunch and it was sushi. Like, that was it. That's all they had there. They didn't have like chicken teriyaki or anything like that. And so I was kind of stuck in the position, and I was like telling everybody, well, I've never had sushi before. And they're like, oh, you've never had it? And so they're recommending everything. And I'm like, ew, nothing sounds good, and I'm like, but I was kind of forced. And then it did grow on me. But see, I was an adult when that happened. I was not, a 15-year-old, because in that case, I probably would have been like very picky and just been like, oh, I'm fine with my water. You know what I mean? But since I was at a business lunch, it was kind of like, I didn't want to be difficult, I guess. I don't know. But you're so right. A kid is not going to miraculously, want a salad dressing this time, so that way he could get his photo taken. It's just weird. Detroit. She's my brothers are twins. They're both tall and I'm 5 foot nothing. No way. You got a big spirit there, Detroit. Okay, guys, let's go into this. I'm just gonna go into this too as we'll read it. I'm gonna pop it up here because I mean, let's see. We're on number 4. It's a lot of good information. It really is. I'm so grateful to have this. So, at least we're finding some stuff out. So it says, that Sebastian has the chromosome deletion syndrome, and he also has autism, and they're kind of explaining this right for people that don't know. But they're saying, despite exhaustive searches, no confirmed trace of Sebastian has surfaced since that night. So since that night that we see him leaving the Texas Roadhouse, nothing else has surfaced, and that to me is really disheartening. Like, oh boy, is that frustrating to me. Because at night, if you guys remember, they all went full force at this, right? And started from the beginning, and then they worked the case. So they're now coming out 16 months later and saying, we just don't have anything. So that's disheartening. So unprecedented effort, unanswered questions. And this has got to be so frustrating for at night. It's got to be. So at night, alongside private investigators, cyber specialists, body language and linguistics analysts, and various expert contractors have dedicated over 500,000 analyst hours to digital forensics, open source intelligence, and field investigations. Wow. So they've done a lot, right? So they've analyzed evidence digitally. They've analyzed the forensics behind it. All of that. And they've also gone out into the field, they say. In partnership with Dwayne Dog Chapman, they have contributed to a reward pool of $500,000, right? So there we go. And we do have an updated flyer as well. And so we have key unanswered questions. Is Sebastian alive? Was his disappearance planned or spontaneous? Did he leave the reported residence barefoot? Local authorities have never confirmed whether Sebastian's shoes were recovered, despite exhaustive ground searches spanning thousands of miles, leaving his current status unknown. Now, again, that is just very disheartening. It just really is, because that's always been a major point of contention, as well as, whether this was a spontaneous situation. They're not sure whether it was spontaneous or planned. So they can't say either way if it was premeditated or not. No evidence of a runaway. Independent body language experts who received extensive footage found no indications that Sebastian intended to run away. Sebastian, who is autistic, reportedly left behind all of his shoes and his phone. Surveillance footage captured at 3:10 a.m. on February 26, 2024, shows 2 unidentified individuals with flashlights behind or near the Proudfoot residence, strongly suggesting third-party involvement, especially given that his stepfather was allegedly away and his mother was reportedly asleep at this time. Additionally, canine teams lost Sebastian's scent abruptly at a roadside, a circumstance more consistent with forced vehicular transport than a voluntary departure. And you guys know how I feel. Sebastian did not leave voluntarily. He did not. He did not. I really feel strongly about that. In my opinion, Sebastian did not. He did not leave on his own. Did he have plenty of reasons to leave on his own? Absolutely. Plenty of reasons to leave on his own. Did he? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. So, critical ransom tip ignored, right? So this is where we get into the ransom, and let's see what At Night has to say about it. They seem to be very diligent the whole step of the way, or every step of the way. On June 23rd, 2025, At Night's national tip line received a credible tip involving a $30,000 cryptocurrency ransom demand as a linked digital wallet and evidence suggesting Sebastian had been trafficked to Cancun, Mexico. Supporting documentation and screenshots indicated that payment would yield proof of life and access to witness employed at this local hotel. At Night immediately escalated the critical lead to the FBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Follow-up communications on June 23rd, 24th, and 25th included multiple emails and a call to local authorities. The ransom demand explicitly outlined a criminal conspiracy, active threats, ransom demands, and cross-border trafficking, grounds warranting an immediate federal kidnapping investigation. Right. So what they're saying here is that as soon as this cryptocurrency ransom was requested, that should have kicked the FBI into overdrive, and they should have become immediately involved in the investigation, right? Because there is an active Amber Alert for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers right now. We can't forget that detail because it's important to the grand scheme of things. So we see, So we see, shockingly, no agency acknowledged or followed upon. Oh, sorry, I can't read that word. There's something in front of it. I apologize. Or upon this lead until a licensed investigator hired by Mr. Rogers operating near the relevant region intervened. At Night documented the lack of response in the June 25th memo, warning authorities of the severity of disregarding this federally mandated trafficking tip. Only later that day did law enforcement authorities respond, briefly stating, "Consider your tip acknowledged. The tip is being investigated by the FBI's the FBI since then. No further updates. Clarifications or actions have been communicated to At Night or the tip source. The failure to properly investigate poses significant risks. If this tip was fraudulent and At Night prematurely committed reward funds, the capacity to respond to general demands is compromised." Right? So, again, whenever this occurs, say I received a ransom demand from someone and my child was missing, I would call the authorities to notify them, and they are to respond. They are to respond, and they did not. What does that say? Because here I am saying they want to help, guys. Trust me, They want to help. They're doing everything they can, guys. And then I got a slap in the face last night with this. I really did. So where the hell are you guys? I don't care if it's fake. There's a lot of hoaxes. You guys need to get on it. You know, this is unacceptable. Delays jeopardize Sebastian's safety. We publicly demand an explanation as to why a credible lead suggesting he may still be alive in danger was not immediately prioritized. Each day without decisive action increases the risk of permanent loss. Federal authorities must urgently acknowledge, investigate, and transparently report on their handling of this ransom tip. The circumstances indicate kidnapping and international trafficking, crimes governed by 18 U.S.C. 1201, with potential application under the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. Immediate FBI intervention is unequivocally necessary. Okay, guys, so here's my take on this. It might have been a hoax, right? If I got this, I might have thought, okay, this is a hoax. But you have to check it out, and it has to be acknowledged, and you can't wait on it. It's not like you get a ransom request and you wait a couple days and call the person back. That's not how it works. They want the money, and they're threatening to hurt the person that they have. It's like a hostage situation at that point, right? They're holding this person hostage. Unless you give them money. It's extorting someone. It's extortion. It's illegal. And if Sebastian was, say, in Cancun, Mexico, that's international, right? But you have to investigate these things with a sense of urgency. You just really do, Hey, Alicia Hot Wheels, good to have you. Good to have you. Chris said on a podcast that Katie's employer put up security equipment after Sebastian disappeared. Yeah, sure did. I remember that, Brenda. Thank you. Yeah, it's absolutely weird. Why didn't Sebastian have his Switch or phone with him? She was on her phone most of the time. Yeah, or why wouldn't she let him play the game, He just wanted to play the game at the table. Why not? What's the deal? Carla says, Craddock, I knew was not doing anything to find Sebastian. Now, after the ransom stuff that just happened, it proves he does nothing. Yeah, it absolutely. And that's what really was, bothersome to me, because I thought, well, gee whiz, here I am trying to stick up for you, trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, riding the fence, saying, well, they're probably working on it, but, obviously not. Town Chat Cafe says, Lady Freedom, in regards to the yellow jacket guy, could there be a slight possibility that someone photoshopped that image of Sebastian into the guy's phone? It can be done. Oh, absolutely, Town Chat. Now I'll say, and people ran with it. Absolutely. So I'll tell you, I received an image that was, okay, let me make sure I'm on the right deal so I can go back. But I received an image that was very close in resemblance to this image. I received it from a couple of different sources. And what I did was I went back to Dog's original video and I checked it out myself. And I because I had it downloaded, but I wanted to make sure that I had all the information. And so when I knew that I did, that's when I decided to make the slow-mo video where you can see Sebastian come into focus. Because I thought the exact same thing as you're saying. It would be so easy to create a hoax out of this, in my opinion. It really would be. It really would be. And I can't, say that I myself couldn't do something like this, right? But this is absolutely, cropped in, right? Zoomed in on, and then slowed down. And that's all I did to the original footage. And this is the result. So thank you so much for asking that question, because I know it's odd, right? Sorry, I move it up when I have to get close and read. It's odd, and I appreciate you asking, because it's important to clarify. Hey, Seclusion Works. Hey, Trishy, good to see you. I'm glad you're doing okay. Hope you feel comfort and peace throughout your hard time. Aw, love you, Trishy. Thanks for being here. Aw, Seclusion, I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I guess that message was for you. Aw, well, I hope everything works out for you. I am so sorry. I am so glad you're here with us. And Ava says, I think about you often and hope you'll be okay. Aw, Ava, what a sweet thing to say. Thank you, guys. You guys are such sweet people and compassionate people. I love you. Carla says, every lead needs checked, not 2 weeks later. I agree. If ever Craddock, you piece of garbage. I agree. I mean, you need to check them. Check the leads. They should be pouncing on these leads. You know what I mean? They should be pouncing on them. SI officer, I couldn't agree more. They failed from the very beginning. Again, in my opinion, selectively, yet we all keep asking why. We know why. I know it. And that's the most frustrating part about it, is that we do know why, but we ask why, but we know. And it's a rhetorical question, and that's why it's so damn frustrating, you know. Yeah, where's the fun day videos? Exactly, hindsight. Amen. You know, and it's like, I don't know. It's crazy. It makes absolutely no sense. And you know, and if it was true and if it was right, it would make sense, in my opinion, you know. So this is weird too here. So forensic lead overlooked. On April 6th, 2025, an anonymous tip labeled the Treehouse Tip was submitted to the Sebastian Rogers reward tip line. So this is interesting too, guys. So this tip was sent over to the Sebastian Rogers reward tip line, consisting solely of a photo depicting a tent-like hideout with domestic items clearly visible, including including a boxed water container and a blanket. Critically, the image prominently displayed an email address presenting an immediate forensic lead, although no metadata such as timestamps, GPS coordinates, or device information were embedded in the photo, likely deliberately removed to anonymize its origin. The visual oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I just got a message. Okay. Likely deliberately and removed to anonymize its origin. The visual content itself provided actionable investigative leads. Okay, so very, very interesting. So during the Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp trial, I learned what like the metadata was all about, right? Because you know, long story short, I'm a huge fan of Johnny Depp. I've always loved him, right? And just great actor, right? Love all the movies he's in and that sort of thing. When I heard that he had possibly abused Amber Heard, I was like, what a son of a bitch. And I wanted to know what the hell was going on, to be honest with you, because I was really upset, you know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, someone I've grown up watching, right? And always thought he was a great guy, really soft-spoken, sweetheart, right? Johnny Depp is a sweetheart. We find out later that she lied her ass off on that man. And I'm not saying that he wasn't toxic towards her. You know, I watched the whole trial. I've kept up on it. But, you know, when it came down to brass tacks in the trial, his lawyers were, you know, amazing. And they did this very thing where they looked at at and forensically analyzed the photos that Amber presented as evidence, finding out that the photos were altered, and the way that they found that out was because of the metadata. And I was like, what is this metadata? This is really interesting, right? And I started kind of doing a little bit of research, but they were really good at explaining it. I really didn't even have to do too much, right? But just understanding that when we take a photo, the origins are embedded into the photo. So a lot of times there will be coordinates and things like that that people can use to locate and see. Those are the really neat things that they can do behind the scenes really quickly. So in my opinion, a father of a missing child who has been told time and time again, we got this, we're doing everything we can. If you have any more ideas, we'd be glad to do it. If it was my kid and my kid was missing, I'd want my team on that. Obviously not, if you're not willing to even look to see where this came from. Why is it At Night's job to find out the origins of this photo? What? So I guess that's the standard in this country now, is that if your child goes missing, you might as well try to hire someone like At Night, because the police aren't going to follow up on leads. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Ooh, I didn't know that. Tia Nurse says, Lady Freedom, did you know Depp was involved in the release of West Memphis 3? You love that case. I am pretty familiar with that case. Yes. Wasn't it like Jesse Muscali? Oh gosh, I'm going to butcher their names. I'm not going to say it. That would be a really interesting deep dive, Tia Nurse. We should think about doing something like that over here. I did not know Johnny Depp was involved in that. I loved watching him go dressed up as Jack Sparrow to the hospital for the kids. That was just like so cute. He's a sweetheart. He's just a sweetheart. I was so glad. And it was very strange for me, because I was connecting with him on the level of being in a toxic relationship and understanding that dynamic and what he went through with her. And I was completely shocked at how connected I felt with his story, and then not how I felt with her story. I was like, you lying, you're a liar. You are just a liar, and you're ruining it for any victim out there that is actually going through this, and then for her to tell him like, oh, no one's going to believe a man, I just wanted to give her the 1-2, but I'm going to look into that. Thanks, TN Nurse. I appreciate you. Sammy S is still so irritated about the Johnny Depp Heard days. I was studying domestic violence facilities at the time, and yes, I have had some wild jobs, and there was the whole Believe Women movement, but it made people I'm gonna hold my thought, Sammy, until I get yours back. Oh, there we go. Just vilify him without evidence. The director of our state's DV org. I know guys like him. What about girls like her? Yeah, absolutely, Sammy. Oh my gosh. Just made me so angry. Believe women, but also believe men. Yeah, definitely. I mean, honestly, because it's not right. I mean, gosh, Courtney Clenny, she's another one that I'm just like, I'm appalled by. I mean, I can't even believe a girl has that kind of cojones, right? To like do what she did and expect, because I don't think men should ever hit a woman because they're smaller, and stuff like that. But don't take it, don't let the girls hurt you like that. I mean, it's just awful. Like, it's so very toxic, and it's difficult when you love somebody, right? I mean, it's a whole psychological disaster. You put it that way, SI officer, I don't think Craddock is scared. I think his wallet gets full from them. I wonder about that as well, Carla, about the money. I think it's all about follow that money, Tina Girl says the best part of the trial was my dog stepped on a bee. Oh no. Oh no. Aw. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Sammy says West Memphis 3 also an IP case that remains crazy. Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing. Um, some of these cases, people are so passionate, which I love, but it can also be very. It can also cause a lot of chaos, right? And it can also cause a lot of division and things like that, because people are so passionate about it, you know. So this is where they go into what they did, you know, other than the metadata search, which was, you know, great, super smart. We need to figure out where this image came from, right? So we can track them down. So they say At Night Creative Intelligence immediately conducted a detailed forensic analysis documented as Exhibit B, Treehouse Tip Submission, Image Analysis, recommending urgent law enforcement follow-up. This included tracing the email address, rather, analyzing the tent and surrounding items for potential matches to known locations or missing persons cases, and preserving the image as evidence. This detailed forensic report categorizes the tip as potentially significant and deserving escalation. Was formally submitted to law enforcement authorities, including the FBI's Rescue Me unit and the Sumner County Sheriff's Office in early April. Oh, geez. So early April, they submitted this tip, and here we are in July, and this was released July 1st. Wowza. So we got early April, May, June, you know, so 3 months. Says despite these clear recommendations, no documented action has been taken by the Sumner County Sheriff's Office or Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. To date, there has been no feedback, acknowledgement, or indication of investigative follow-up through regarding this lead, right? So they haven't followed through with the lead. The lack of action on this credible forensic tip is alarming, demonstrating a concerning and unacceptable pattern of overlooked investigative opportunities. This is, in my opinion, really, really true here. If they're not leaving no stone unturned the way that they said they were going to leave no stone unturned, it's absolutely alarming, because Sebastian's out there somewhere. And if someone calls in a tip, it needs to be taken seriously. I don't care if it comes from the internet or not. You know? And Misinformation Crisis says Sebastian case continues to be severely impacted by rampant online misinformation and inadequate communication from local authorities. Persistent false claims, such as an alleged confirmed February 26th sighting, and unfounded hit and run theories have proliferated online, diverting investigative resources and creating a dangerous environment. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office has contributed to confusion through reactive and inconsistent communications, allowing rumors to thrive unchecked and overshadow verified facts. This is a powerful statement. And I'll read it again because I know I kind of messed it up a little bit, but the Sumner County Sheriff's Office has contributed to confusion through reactive and inconsistent communications, allowing rumors to thrive unchecked and overshadow verified facts, right? So if they were just to come out and let us know what's going on, it would make all the difference in the world. And anybody that wanted to perpetuate a rumor would look like the asshole that they are. Right? And we can all move on, and all of us that were serious about working together to figure out what happened to Sebastian, we would be in good shape, right? Because we would have the knowledge, and we would have the rationale, and we would be reasonable in deduction. But instead, they leave us to fill in the blanks and fight over who's right, and it's just absolutely exhausting. This information environment has escalated into outright harassment and threats against individuals assisting the investigation. Volunteers, family members, and at-night personnel have been subjected to doxing, intimidation, and defamatory attacks online in late 2024. These actions reached an alarming level, including a direct death threat and purported $100,000 bounty placed on At Night's investigative team and members of Dog the Bounty Hunters group showing up at private residences. I mean, I'm not even gonna, you guys know, I have dealt with this myself. I'm not gonna go into it. It's not about me. But, you know, I'm to this level, they're willing to do it to this level. You know, I'm a small dog. But they're going to do it to the big dog? What? That's bonkers. That's absolutely insane. You know, I mean, so At Night's legal team also received threatening emails, some of which included photos of their spouses and children. What? These malicious and coordinated attacks ultimately forced At Night and One World to file for emergency legal relief on behalf of Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, following the issuance of a cease and desist letters and subsequent legal actions against those responsible for orchestrating these campaigns. And guys, again, I'm not going to go into who all is doing this, but we know who they are. And they know who they are, respectively. Direct threats have led key volunteers, such as United Cajun Navy, to withdraw from search efforts after receiving in-person and online death threats. Several at-night contractors and volunteers have similarly exited the investigation for their safety. We unequivocally condemn these actions. No one dedicated to finding a missing child should ever face such obstruction or hostility. Local law enforcement bears significant responsibility for allowing this harmful climate to persist through inadequate and delayed communication. Timely, proactive public engagement, guiding community efforts, and ensuring the safety of volunteers despite repeated offers for At Night and One World to support communication management, law enforcement responses have been limited and or non-existent. It's just so frustrating to hear all of this, right? So we all know there was all of this nonsense going on. It got really, really heavy, especially when SF Investigates stepped onto the scene. He has harassed me as well. I mean, it and to the point where, you know, he has defamed my character. He didn't do anything to find Sebastian. He did nothing but cause more chaos. You know, and then he just slowly left, slithered away like the snake he is. So here we go. It's also talking about Sumner County Sheriff's Office and TBI addressing the communication breakdown and restore effective, transparent public engagement. This is the major problem here too, guys. The lack of trust in law enforcement. And the reason there's a lack of trust in law enforcement is because of the lack of information, the misinformation, And really, if you don't think that law enforcement truly cares, are you going to call them? Because I wouldn't. If I really didn't think they cared, I wouldn't bother calling. And so that puts Sebastian into a really dangerous situation right there. It's like the don't bother situation, right? Because why bother? Or maybe why bother if they're not going to follow up? Misinformation is not merely a public relations issue. It has significantly undermined such efforts, wasted precious resources, and endangered those dedicated to Sebastian's safe return. Amen. I couldn't say it better myself. Now, this is the plea for federal intervention. Due to a substantial local inaction and the urgent circumstances surrounding Sebastian's disappearance, a vulnerable minor suspected to have been trafficked internationally at night, and One World Society will formally request FBI oversight in a forthcoming letter addressed to FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino. Deputy Director Bongino, appointed in March of 2025, currently oversees national FBI operations. And now, if you guys have been with me, I know there's some new people out there, and I appreciate y'all too. You guys know we've been doing a letter writing campaign, and, I just felt like this was probably a sign and that we should probably get down with writing to Dan Bongino. So I'm going to be making a video with all of the information on how to get a hold of Dan Bongino, and he's going to be our next person that we write to respectfully, honestly, and with care. And again, we catch more flies with honey than vinegar, so we're going to do it in a nice way, but there's a nice way to do it, and you can also be firm, right? So we're going to be assertive, and we want to write to Dan Bongino. So I'm going to get that out to you guys within the next couple of days, and we'll do another letter writing campaign to Mr. Bongino and help at night out. We want them to get lots and lots of letters so they can't say no. And you can also send them messages on X as well. I'll get his X. Under the Federal Kidnapping Act, the FBI possesses jurisdiction over kidnappings invoking potential international crossings, as indicated by ransom claims pointing to Cancun, Mexico. Additionally, the Trafficking Victims Protection Act may apply if evidence of human trafficking is confirmed. The FBI's established role in Amber Alert cases further underscores underscores authority and responsibility to intervene decisively in cases like Sebastian's. We urgently request the FBI to assume primary oversight of the Sebastian Rogers investigation, or at a minimum, initiate a federal inquiry and secure copies of intelligence and tips from local and state authorities for a thorough bureau review. We also urge the FBI to similarly review the case of Summer Wells. Woo woo, there we go. There's our little baby, Summer Wells. Okay, she has disappeared at the age of 5 in Tennessee under comparably suspicious circumstances. Local and state authorities previously used misinformation on social media platforms as justification for their prolonged inaction and unacceptable precedents we insist must not be repeated. Okay, guys, and this is exactly it right here. Law enforcement overlooks all of this nasty stuff, and we went over it in Summer's case that Don Wells said on the internet. All the nasty stuff Candace has said. And she wasn't as bad as Don, but just because she's quiet and she doesn't tell us everything, and he's such an idiot that he will, that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. So it's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm glad that they added Summer into this because she deserves to be found. She is still out there. And just because they're saying this shit on the internet doesn't mean that people shouldn't pay attention. You know? Carla, I have to agree. Carla says they don't want us to know where Sebastian is or even a clue of what happened. They say they don't like the speculation or the rumor mill, but they certainly know how to make it a spin. SI officer says, oh, well, just like his snuggle struggle comment, I stated, would he still feel that way if it was any of his girls? Exactly. And that's coming from a guy that has daughters, right? That's what got me too, SI officer. Absolutely. You know, coming from a guy that's got daughters. Sasha says Sebastian got snacks and the mother hurt him fatally. The family helped cover it up, my opinion, and were comfortable with their property. They can control and have distance from the case because CP. Well, and I know CP was talking about how he wasn't going to be, you know, allowing for any searches to happen, you know, and that the family wouldn't allow for any of that. But that's what search warrants are for, you know? Carla says Snuggle Struggle should never wear a badge. Amen. It's Occam's razor at this point. I agree, Sasha. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think some of us pay too much attention. Meg, you're probably right on that one. That's funny. All right, so let me see here. We got, oh, I already read this one. Okay, protecting minors in immediate danger is a civic duty we implore the FBI to fulfill. Without further delay, we will request Director Patel to prioritize this case and deploy all necessary federal resources, wherever the investigation leads, Tennessee, Mexico, or beyond. Our detailed letter to the FBI leadership, copied to the U.S. Department of Justice and relevant congressional oversight committees, will outline the timeline of neglected leads and investigative missteps. This is fantastic. Emphasizing the urgency of immediate federal action. This includes highlighting critical evidence such as the unaddressed June 23rd ransom tip and the overlooked forensic leads. Additionally, we are engaging with Tennessee's Office of the United States Attorney and the DOJ, right? Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division's Human Trafficking Prosecution Unit due to the interstate and international implications of this case. So, a lot there, guys, a lot there. A fresh, empowered federal investigation from local political constituents and agency conflicts its essentials that Sebastian's safety must be a priority, right? Overriding jurisdictional pride or embarrassment. Overriding jurisdictional pride. Ding, 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 ding. Let it go, Craddock. You're not helping at this point. You're hurting it. Right? And I'm pretty sure you hurt the investigation when you didn't do your job the first time. And you're only operating off of one assumption, which should never happen in an investigation. While we acknowledge the FBI's prior involvement, including their announced $50,000 reward last year, the severity of the situation now demands their direct leadership and immediate intervention. Well said. Peter Kirkakis, I think it is. At Night's national tip line coordinator for the Rogers case emphasizes time is critical. Every ignored tip and every hour lost increases the peril Sebastian Rogers faces. We cannot tolerate further inaction or bureaucratic delays or bullshit. Don't forget the bullshit. We urgently call on the highest levels of the law enforcement to interfere decisively, cut through the procedural obstacles, and bring Sebastian home safely. He further noted the diminishing patience of Sebastian's loved ones. We have diligently tried to work within the system, and now we are sorry, something about the system. Sorry, I there's like, it says live and it covers up the first couple words. I'm so sorry, guys. Now we are publicly putting the system on notice. Okay, so what they're saying is they're gonna be writing letters. They're going to let the Congress know. They're going to work towards bringing awareness about what's happening to the FBI and see if they will take over the case. And I hope they do. At Night and One World Society are prepared to pursue legal actions for gross negligence if credible leads continue to be ignored. Our unwavering goal remains Sebastian's safe return. Authorities must prioritize transparent communication and protect those supporting the critical search effort, right? And that's important. Why should someone who's helping to find Sebastian be threatened? Why should they be worried in any way? They should be happy and they should feel good about helping a worthy cause. But instead, these creeps have us looking over our damn shoulder every 5 minutes. Because we're trying to find a missing 15-year-old kid? Are you kidding me? Excuse me, 16? Please. That doesn't make a damn bit of sense, and I've never heard of anything this crazy in my life. A call to action. Help bring Sebastian Rogers home. We urge vigilance and immediate reporting of credible information. Silence risks in Sebastian's life. Your anonymous tip could be pivotal. At Night, Creative Intelligence and the One World Society are committed to using all necessary legal actions to ensure Sebastian's case receives proper attention. We formally notify all responsible agencies to any further negligence or mishandling of credible evidence resulting in harm to Sebastian will lead to the legal action for gross negligence and other relevant civil claims. Our primary goal remains Sebastian's safe return, but accountability for mishandled tips and overlooked evidence is essential to restore public trust. This is a huge one. I don't think that people trust that the leads are being followed up on. And you guys have told me this extensively for the last few months. We've talked about it, right? Here and there, we've been talking about it. People are saying, I don't think anybody's following up on the leads that I'm sending in, Lady Freedom. And I don't, this is frustrating as all hell. And I'm like, I understand. And now we're seeing that there's proof that they haven't been. And that's very concerning. So if you had trust in the police, like I did yesterday, I don't have that anymore. And and that's a result of their actions, and it has nothing to do with me. We call upon anyone whose information regarding Sebastian's disappearance, no matter how minor, to report it immediately, right? And you call 911, guys. Call and maybe, let Dog and his team know if they're the only ones that are dedicated to following up. So we have setting the record straight, facts versus misinformation. Now, this is going to be really important, guys, I think, in putting to bed some claims I know it's not going to be everything that we probably wanted, but at least it's something. So, all right. So here's a fact. All immediate family members, Sebastian's father, Seth, mother, Katie, and stepfather, Chris, cooperated with law enforcement, including taking polygraph tests. Okay. So that's one thing that we can put to bed, that there were polygraph tests given. It doesn't tell the results. We know Seth's. We don't know Chris and Katie's. Okay. Misinformation. Rumors alleging a parent refused or failed polygraphs are false. Polygraph tests have not implicated family involvement. Okay, so here we go. So they're saying that Chris and Katie did not fail their polygraph. Okay. So, fact, Sebastian was last seen on February 25th, 2024 at the Texas Roadhouse in Hendersonville, Tennessee. No credible sightings have occurred afterward. Right? That's the last time we know of him being seen. Misinformation. Claims of the TBI confirmed sighting on February 26th are false. Authorities confirm no sightings of Sebastian. February 25th, he was reported missing. Excuse me, let me reread that. I read it too fast. So February 26th are false about any sightings of Sebastian. Authorities confirm no sightings, but before or post, right, before February 25th, he was reported missing on the 26th. So we know that we saw Sebastian at the Texas Roadhouse. After that, nothing. We haven't had anything after that. Put more simply, I guess. So, fact, surveillance footage from neighbors show two unidentified individuals with flashlights behind the Rogers home at approximately 3:10 a.m. on February 26th. Misinformation suggests that Sebastian wandered off alone, with evidence indicating an abrupt loss of scent beyond his yard. Fact, Sebastian's phone was left behind. Investigators found no evidence of a planned departure. So they found Sebastian's phone, they looked in it, and it doesn't show that he left willingly. Misinformation. The theory of an impulsive escape lacks support, especially given Sebastian's routine-oriented nature. And we talked about this yesterday. There's no way that Sebastian would have walked off by himself. Now, when we go back to this fact above, fact, Sebastian's phone was left behind. Investigators found no evidence of a planned departure. So let's just paint the picture here. We have Sebastian Rogers' phone sitting on the counter, charging, when Seth arrived. He stated that he saw his phone sitting on the counter. So I think it's reasonable to believe that the police took Sebastian's phone and checked his phone immediately to see if there was a planned departure. Now, once they found that out, why on God's green earth did they not change their assumption? Come on. So you knew this whole entire time that Sebastian didn't depart willingly, but you were still operating under the assumption that he walked off. Sheriff Craddock, what a doofus. All right. So, multiple agencies, Sumner County Sheriff's Office, TBI, FBI are actively involved, supported by a reward fund totaling approximately $500,000 from public and private contributions. Misinformation. Claims suggesting the family rejected external help or that authorities do not intend to find Sebastian are categorically false. Our concerns center on responsiveness, not intent. So what they're saying here is that they had a lack of response, but it's not they don't feel like it's law enforcement's intention to deliberately not follow up on the leads. It was the lack of the response that they're upset with. They don't think that they're in other words, they don't think that they're just taking these leads in and deliberately not going over them. They think that their response time was not adequate, and they would like to see the response that we would expect, right? And then I have one more for you guys. Sebastian is a beloved son, grandson, who has autism and may be unable to seek help independently. He wants to come home. At night, Creative Intelligence and One World Society remain resolute in our commitment to bringing Sebastian home and holding accountable anyone obstructing this mission. We will not cease our efforts until every avenue is thoroughly pursued and Sebastian is found safely. But if negligence persists, we will pursue legal accountability without hesitation. A young man's life and future are at stake. Let us all act accordingly, ensuring our collective efforts align with the urgency and moral imperative of the critical search. Approved by this release, right? And this is from July 1st of 2025. So that's that. That is their statement in full. And I know it was long. I hope I did okay reading it for you guys. It's just a lot. You know. Oh, really? Brenda says, that's great. Cash Patel was just on Joe Rogan, and he said he was going after child traffickers. Woo, woo. That's what I'm talking about. Get it, Cash. They've busted a lot of rings, guys. They've busted a lot of rings lately, and I'll tell you, once they bust one of those, they're going to start busting the rest of them, right? It's kind of like all of it rolls downhill. And it's because these people network together and they're sickos, and they all network together. So it's like YouTube, you see all the sickos together, you see all the decent people together. That's how it works, right? Because birds of a feather flock together. And so, when they start catching and busting these nasties, right, then they look in their computer and then they see the other nasties, and that's how they're able to go get the other trafficking rings and whatnot. Grady Judd is the man when it comes to that, and I'm going to tell you right now, he does a fantastic job, and he absolutely knows that's the process, and a lot of it I've learned from him. Sammy G says, I bet KP wasn't eating rolls and butter like that in front of CP, just saying. Oh, hell no, he was fat shaming her. Oh, God. And then look at him. He actually looks like a wanker. Looks like a wanker, acts like a wanka. With too much attention to detail. Yeah, Sammy, I agree. Craddock is not operating at all. Carla. He stopped operating under any assumption now, didn't he, Carla? Lord. Remember the picture of Summer at the hotel with Candy looking in pain, and Candace Fly said Summer got a piece of candy from Grandis. What does that mean? What's the connection between Dobbs? I agree, Sasha. It's absolutely very weird. And, I love that At Night has adopted Summer because she needs someone that is going to go to bat for her. She deserves it. She does. And I do remember that photo. And Grandis went to Georgia where Dobbs lived for something. I don't know. Odd. Yeah, I agree. It's all odd. It is all odd. Thanks, prayer. Thank you for the prayer hands, SI officer. Because they know what's ahead of them if the truth be known, in my opinion, allegedly. You got it. You got it. Not in that town at this point, the FBI to me. I hope they just take over. So what's the correlation between Candy with Grandis and Candy and the hotel and Candy and the creepy guy? Because Bly flew home after that guy and Summer went missing after Candy with Grandma. Well, and I've always wondered that too, because obviously if someone called me, or I'll say if my significant other called me and said the guy that's been touching our kids or trying to touch our kids is around, I tell him to shoot him. You know what I mean? I wouldn't hesitate. I'd be like, take care of him. Tell him to get the hell out of there. You know, call the cops on him, whatever. I don't know if it's a stand your ground in Tennessee, but I'll tell you what, I'd be standing mine. I'm just so grateful that they're willing to take, you know, jumping, that they're willing to take on Summer as well. You know, it's so important. So I'm going to be working on bringing in some of these interviews, and I want to go over them because I want to kind of show you all why I'm thinking what I'm thinking. And we're going to go over that. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so we're good. Okay, so I'm thinking tonight we'll do that. Friday we'll do, you know, a 4th of July. I hope everybody has a wonderful 4th of July too weekend, and we're going to do that. But I'll be back on Saturday, and then we'll do Sunday. But I'll switch my days up a little bit this week. So Friday I'll be off for 4th of July, and hopefully it doesn't rain the whole entire time. But I'm going to be working really hard behind the scenes. We're also going to do a quick follow-up with Daniela Mendiola. I want to put what her brother had to say into a video that we can watch and discuss. And so I'll be working on that sort of thing for you guys. And then the letter writing campaign, let's write Dan Bongino, right? Let's write him and let's get him on board with what's going on, right? Cash should already know. But let's get Dan on board and let's let him know about this recent mishap where there was a ransom situation and no one responded, right? No reason for it. And you know, we learned a little bit more about Sebastian's case as it seems from the ones who are investigating it the most thoroughly, in my opinion. So it's interesting to know that, you know, there were polygraphs given and passed. It seems like it doesn't say that they passed, but it says that they were cooperative. And it also says that they took them and did not fail them, you know, and polygraphs are scored differently than just a pass or fail, by the way. I mean, we went over that, and, you know, but for easier terms for the public to understand, people will say, I passed the poly, I failed it. But, you know, there's certain questions that you can be deceptive on. Some are truthful, and, you know, and it's all considered along with body language and, you know, physiological responses and all those different, you know, things. So not admissible in court either. So something to consider. Also, I thought it was very interesting that At Night is also confirming that there was no sightings of Sebastian whatsoever after the Texas Roadhouse. They did not mention the trash can at all, you know? You passed the poly, Meg? Apparently dump hotels and Patel means innkeeper cash, an innkeeper. Interesting. Yeah. Did you have a way to check on your end when the membership renews? You know what? I don't, Town Chat. I don't. It'll tell me like who's renewed, you know, and if they didn't renew, if at the end, if somebody put the reason why in there or something like that. But yeah, I'm not sure. Megan else, I don't believe you, Carla says. You guys. But yeah, I'm going to be working on that kind of stuff behind the scenes and all of that. And again, I'm sorry it was such a long kind of like read through tonight, but I thought it would be interesting for you guys to listen. And then if you wanted to go back and hear it again, you know, if you didn't want to have to read it yourself, but a good reminder. But I'm going to be working on kind of a timeline of events that I'm going to put together for us, because as we go through, we're going to go over this flashlight video. And once we get there, there's going to be a lot of different twists and turns once we start analyzing that. So, all right, guys. Well, I enjoyed my time with you as I always do. Definitely say prayers for Aaliyah. I don't know if you guys can see. There we go. There we go. So definitely say prayers for her. And, you know, she's a strong little one. I'll tell you what. Yeah, and then of course, if you have any suggestions or if you want me to read your letter, we will do that. If you have any questions that you want to ask, you know, definitely send them over. So thank you, Tom Chat Cafe. Thank you so much. Again, it's so nice to be with all of you guys. Thank you, Ann Reynolds. Thank you, Meg and Carla and Hindsight. Thank you, Hindsight, so much for being here. I don't know if I see your comments. I'm trying to look through. I was so behind tonight. Sammy G, thank you for being here. SI officer as always. Sasha and Carla. I don't want to miss anybody. But yeah, it's always such a pleasure to have you guys. And we're going to keep going over this because it is going to be a progressive buildup. But a little bit of a side note, these leads are being taken seriously, apparently. So, you know. All right, guys. Well, I love you. You all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you so much for being here.